I'm Sarah Bradbury from The Upcoming. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to me. I mean, you left us on quite the cliffhanger at the end of season one of The Diplomat, coming straight into season two, quite a twist. Did you already know where everything was going to go? Was it something that you had to think about when the show was renewed? And how did you kind of maintain that momentum, up the stakes, but also have space to develop the arcs of each of your characters?
There was this discovery that we made in the first season, which was we're trying to tell a story where everybody from the US has a different point of view on a single event. And then we go to another country and we find that every person we interact with there has a different point of view on a single event. And hopefully all of them can see multiple points of view. So the dynamic of the storytelling, in a way, slowed down a lot, because we would come up with these storylines, but there would be a single incident, and the process of, in a real way, seeing so many different characters respond to that event and talk about what the next step should be, we just didn't get through all that much story. So the story of the second season was supposed to be in the first season. Like, all that was supposed to be sort of jammed into the last two episodes of the first season. Frankly, I have no idea what I was thinking, but it was not difficult to, once it became clear when I was writing episode 7 last season that there was no way to do this story justice in 2 hours. It just kind of like popped up like a pop-up book into season 2.
And of course, much of the intrigue as well stems from the central relationship between Kate and Hal. So, and everything for them is shifting this season. What's it been like watching Kerry and Rufus bring these roles to life, and then also bringing in new characters, Alice and Janie in particular as vice president?
I didn't know in the beginning of the series how central that marriage was going to be to the whole thing. I mean, I should probably say, oh, I always knew it was a marriage between two countries and it was a marriage between Kate and Hal. I didn't know that it was going to become the primary focus on a character side in the way that it did. Carrie and Rufus came in, and the relationship between the two of them, the electricity between the two of them as characters, and the just knockdown, drag out fun that they have when they're working with each other made it clear that that's something that we should lean into much more directly. It's amazing when that's the dream, right? That's what you want to happen when you're writing for people. You want to kind of create a world, and then as these people start moving through it, they start to tell you what the story is going to be. And that's what happened. And then Allison Janney shows up, and, she's, I worked with her really early in my career, and I was like, how am I ever going to recover from this? Like, she can do everything and she can do it at the same time. And she's just electric on the comedy side, on the drama side. She can talk about policy, like she's talking about the weather. So the notion of getting to work with her again was a fantasy that I didn't think we would be able to pull off, and we did, and it was as good as it was cracked up to be.
And I think one of the great things about the show is that it totally balances, sort of this broader world of diplomacy, the political backdrop, but then we're really invested in these characters and the politics, in between them. How much did you have to base this on fact, on research, to make it seem really believable what's going on in the background, as well as developing, obviously, the fictional side with your characters?
I'm really into all the stuff that's going on in the background and want it to be believable and want it to be as real as possible. And the people who do this work have unbelievable made-for-TV lives. They're just in life and death situations all the time. There's this sort of wacko mix of diplomacy and protocol and appearances, and the world is crumbling and society's falling apart and the globe is on fire. All of those things exist in these people's lives in a very present way in every moment. And that's really fun. So we talk to a ton of people who do this. And I think a lot of the stories that seem most fantastical that we tell in the show are things that we heard from, like that happened on Thursday for so-and-so.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. And I can't wait for everyone else to get stuck into the season 2 of The Diplomat. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Good talking to you.